Can I be honest with you? You're not starting over. You're starting with wisdom, discernment, experience, and a deeper understanding of who you are. And that right there, Queen, is the game changer. Hey, Queen, hey, and welcome back to my podcast, Soulful Sundays podcast. Y'all, can you believe we're at episode 11? Yes, clap it up, clap it up, clap it up. We have reached episode 11. We are still in season one, y'all. So you have some time to catch up wherever you are listening to this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever podcast you're listening to this on, or even watching on YouTube. Go ahead and catch up with your sister and make sure you grab your Soulful Sundays journal. Let me show you what it looks like. You can actually get it right on Amazon. You can click that link in the description box and get your journal, because this is a 90-day journal that's going to help you along your process of becoming. 2026 is our year to become the better version of ourselves, become the queen that we dreamt of, become that woman, hello, that woman that we talk about, dream about, and don't even speak about, but we know that we can accomplish it because we have the power to do it. So this is a 90-day journal, but not just a 90-day journal. This journal goes side by side with our podcast. So Queens, get your hand on the journal, because with every podcast, I give 3 weekly crowns, which is our scripture, our affirmation, and our wellness activity for the week. And so you can jot all of that down inside of the journal. And also, you can put your notes from the podcast, and there are tons of other things you can add into this journal. So, Queen, go over to Amazon, get yours today so it could come to you quick, fast, and in a hurry, and you can start your process in journaling today. So, Queens, you've seen from the title of today's podcast, we're talking about you're not starting over, you're starting wiser. Okay. So let's dive in. Come on, come on, have a seat, have your cup of coffee, tea, whatever you're sipping on, and most importantly, that journal, Queen, that journal. I don't care if it's my journal, a Dollar Tree journal, a piece of paper, because I want you to take notes on today. Because, Queen, I want you to really think about some stuff throughout this podcast. I want you to really meditate on some things. I want you to really realize that life did not stop because you reached a certain plateau in life. We all reach plateaus. We all get to a certain level in life. We all get to that place in life where, we start thinking back over life. We think that our age is the that a certain age is the stopping point of becoming whatever we thought we was going to be by that time. We get overwhelmed by the pressures, right? As a woman, let's keep it 100. As a woman, we feel pressure in having it all figured out, because a lot of us are the go-tos in our family. A lot of us are the go-tos at work, in our relationships, in our friendships, right? And we're supposed to have it all figured out by this time. Whatever stage in life that you are in, you feel like, you know what, I should have had it all figured out. And a lot of you know, if you listen to last week podcast, I just turned 51. I'm over that hill, right? The way we said in society. I'm over the hill now. I was at the peak at 50. Now I'm 51. I'm on the other side of things. And of course, you start looking at life. You start looking at things that you should have done, things that you wish you could have done. And, things could have been a little different if this was done differently, right? And you feel a little pressured. I'm going to be 100. I went through that stage, approaching even 45. Okay, let's be clear. As those years and chapters in our lives continue to turn, because time stops for no one. Time stops for no one. And as time continued to turn, and as that clock keep ticking, thank God that is ticking, we start to think about those things. Even if you're a younger queen in your 30s, right? You start thinking about some stuff. You try to hurry up your process. I got to hurry up and get married by a certain age. I got to hurry up and get this done. You know, my kids will be graduating. I had to hurry up and hustle and get these things done. I should have had all of this done by now. I get it. I was you. But now that I'm at 51, things look a little different. I can't go as fast as I was when I was 20, 21, 25, 30. I'm 51. And so I look at life totally different. And I realized that starting over, restarting, however you want to phase it, in my 40s and 50s feel emotionally different than it was when I was in my 20s. See, when I was in my 20s, I could just throw it all away and start all over. When I was in my 20s, I was divorced. I had a divorce. I was a single mom. I started over in a new apartment, just me and my son. I lost everything. I had to file bankruptcies. I was working 2 jobs, but it was a little easier because I knew I had time. Time was my friend then, right? Time was on my side then. I knew that I had time to get these things right. Yeah, it was frustrating. Yeah, it was a little overwhelming, but I had age. I was young. I had time. I had time to save. I had time to get my credit right. I had time to raise a child and build my credit up and my money up and find that house and do all the things. I had time. But restarting in your 40s and 50s, it feels different. It hits a little different. And I know there's a queen that's listening to this right now, and she's in a restarting phase in her life. And she may be in her 40s and 50s, maybe even 60s. It might not be a divorce for her, but it could be a career change. Yeah. I told you guys I had to go back to work. I would be at my corporate job. I'm in banking. I would be there for 3 years now. But to that, I was an entrepreneur, stay at home wife, raising my kids, working our businesses. I thought I had it all together. We thought we had the plan mapped out. I thought we had it figured out. Hubby will go to work and we would have the health insurance and we would have the stability from his job, but I would run the business. And then things went sideways. COVID hit, deaths hit, money was funny, loss of job. Then we both had to figure business out, figure life out all over again and start again. And that was just 3 years ago. 3 years ago. So things does happen and it takes an emotional drainage on us. And when that happened, can I be honest? I did not know what I know now. I was not at the place that I am now where I can sit and talk about this and help another queen out, help her on her process. Hopefully give her some encouragement because I was not where I am now. So guess what? I had to go to therapy. Because like I said, it feels emotionally different when you have to start over in your 40s and your 50s and beyond. And I had to go to therapy. I was overwhelmed. I was having anxiety attacks. I was not at peace. I wasn't sleeping. My body knew I was going through. So I had to go to therapy. I had to figure this thing out because I'd never been here at that age. The age of I should have it all together by now. The age that society say, oh, you should have XYZ all in line. Everything look good on paper. Your life should be planned out. This is how it should look. That is not real. Can I be real? That is not real. But yet we strive for something that is false. We strive for these false realities that we see on TV, social media, that society tell us that is the standard. The standard for who? Not the standard for the average American, not the standard for 2026. No, sir, no, ma'am. Maybe back in the 50s, maybe the 60s, but it's not the standard today. And so it will hit emotionally, it will feel different. But I'm here to tell you that you can get through this because you're not starting over, you're starting wiser. And a lot of times we forget that. We forget all of the things that we learned throughout the years, right? The truth is, you're not the same woman anymore. I had to realize that I'm not that same woman anymore. And that's the advantage. Okay, that's the advantage. I'm not that 20-year-old woman that had that divorce and was a single mom and had to figure things out on her own. And I sometimes compare myself to her. And I was at a place where I was like, yo, when I was 20, I had so much motivation. I was doing this. I was working 2 jobs. I was da 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 da. But I had to realize with therapy, prayer, and supplication, can we be 100? I had to realize that I am not her anymore. Yes, she was a part of me. Yes, she helped build me to where I am today. But I am not her, and that's the advantage. Because now I have wisdom. Now I have understanding. Now I have experiences under my belt. So you might ask, Queen, what does wisdom look like? I'm glad you asked. So in this season, in my 50s, in my 40s, well, I'm at 51 now, but in your 50s and your 40s, you got some life experiences, right? And so that looks like better boundaries, right? In my 20s, I had no boundaries. I was getting out of a divorce. I didn't know how to set boundaries. I was getting stepped on. I was getting lied to. It was a lot going on. Okay. I ain't going into that. But it's better boundaries. I know how to love myself now. I know what's for me and what's not for me, who's for me and who's not for me, what I'm willing to tolerate and what I'm really willing to let go, right? I know how to protect my peace more, okay? I know how to go into my sacred spaces and protect my peace. I know what is unstabling and uncouth for my peace. I know what is a peace stealer. And I know where to go when I need peace. For me, wisdom actually looks like in this season of life is slower decisions. I made a lot of bad decisions just jumping into the next best thing that sounds good. I made a lot of poor financial decisions, relationship decisions, friendship decisions, business decisions. Now I make slower decisions. Well, let me think about that. Let me put a pin in that. I'm not quick to answer yes anymore. I no longer chase validation. That was an issue for me for many, many, many years because of childhood traumas, because of not having my daddy in my life and all those things. I got a whole laundry list of things I had to dig up during those counseling sections. But now that I'm wiser and now that I have this age advantage over me, I no longer chase the validation I used to when I was making all those mistakes in my 20s. Right? And so my past mistakes became instructions instead of shame. Come on. Now that I'm in my season of becoming a better version of myself, my past mistakes became instructions. Now I know what to do and what not to do. Now I know what path to take and which path to avoid. Now I know what makes sense and how to run that play instead of out here just guessing it. See, wisdom comes with age if you utilize it correctly. Because there's some old fools out here, unfortunately, but they don't know how to utilize all that experience that they had. All of those mistakes are now lessons, right? Remember, I said there's no losses, there's only lessons. We don't lose in life, we learn in life. And now that I'm older, I understand every bit of that statement because I used those lessons, I used those mistakes, and I learned from them. And because of that, I learned how to become better. I learned how to see life differently. I learned how to not put my mouth on a certain situation or people because I know mistakes happen. People make wrong mistakes every day. But I know too that they can learn from each and every one of those mistakes. So, wisdom helped me realize the red flags. And there were a lot of red flags. And there will continue to be red flags in relationships. Come on. Red flags in friendships, business opportunities, every area of our lives. Allow that wisdom to just sound off, burn, 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 like a flashing light because of that wisdom. Because you decided not to make a quick decision. Now that you may be divorced and you're on the dating scene, you know yourself from that wisdom. Because now that you got some years under your belt, now that you had some faulty relationships and you learned from them, and now they're lessons, and now they're your instructions, and you hear something when that those initial conversations, and you hear things. See, that 20-year-old might have heard something before in those conversations, but she tried to ignore it. You know how we do, ladies. We try to ignore it. We think we can, they're changing, they can change, we can help them change, we can change them. But now that we're older, the first sign, that first red flag in that relationship, in that getting to know stage, we can say, oh, this isn't for me. Oh, I politely bow out, right? Because we know without a shadow of a doubt that that right there is not for me. And therefore, that wisdom that you learned throughout these years helped you to become wiser. Remember, you're not starting over, you're starting wiser. And those years were experiences, those years is building your wisdom. And we got to learn how to be intentional and tap into the wisdom that God has given us through our experiences. You deserve more. You deserve to love more, to be happy, to be joyful. Whatever you desire, want, and thriving to be, you deserve it. So I want you to start again. If you're in the phase of starting over, if you're in the phase of becoming, I want you to start with discernment. Tap into your inner peace. Tap into that inner self and have discernment in every situation. Read the room, right? Read the room. Be intentional. Be intentional in this season of starting over. Starting over, wiser means resting more, right? We're doing this intentionally. We're going to start over by resting more. You know how important rest is? Having discernment, having rest. It gives our minds to be able to focus. We're not we're not forcing anything anymore. I'm not forcing to be in your life. I'm not forcing and bogarting my way through anything. What's meant for us is for us. I'm flowing through life and allowing God to allow things flow into me that's meant for me. Come on. I'm listening with intention. I'm listening with intuition. I'm listening to hear, not just to respond. Come on. That's that wiser. We're not listening just to respond. We're listening to be intentional and intuitive. We move with intentions. Remember, everything has intention. Everything has a purpose. Nothing just happens. Everything happens on purpose, for purpose. And you are here for those purposes. So we move with intention. We listen. We don't decide right away, but we listen. And we listen to hear. That's that wisdom. So, Queen, remember, rebuilding is not a bad thing. Rebuilding isn't bad at all. You need to rebuild sometimes, regardless of what stage in life you're in. And rebuilding is necessary. We should never be the same and stay the same. We should always be looking for something more, something different. In every area of your life, because you are here on purpose, for a purpose. So don't think of starting over as a bad thing. You're not starting over, you're starting wiser. Hey Queens, hey, it is time for our 3 weekly crowns. So grab your journals and let's jot down our 3 weekly crowns. But before we begin, let's take a deep breath in and out. We're going to do 3 deep breaths through our nostrils and out through our mouths in order to get in a space of hearing and listening. Let's slow our nervous system down, because that was a lot. That was a lot. But we're going to slow it down and prepare for our 3 weekly crowns. So let's close our eyes and relax our shoulders. And we're going to do 3 deep breaths in and out, nice and slow. Let's begin. Deep breath in and out. Deep breath in and out. One last time. Deep breath in and out. Let's slowly open our eyes. And that felt good. All right. So turn to your affirmation page for this week. Our affirmation for this week is, my past prepared me. It did not disqualify me. Clock that T. Let's read that again. My past prepared me. It did not disqualify me. I want you to read that, write that, journal with that, sit with that, eat that, what have you. Just know that it prepared you and did not disqualify you. Regardless of what your past may be, what it looked like, how it made you feel, it prepared you for such a time as this. Okay, now that we got that, our scripture for the week is Romans 8:28. God actively orchestrates every circumstance in their lives for ultimate good. Let's read that again. Romans 8:28. God actively orchestrates every circumstance in their lives for ultimate good. Isn't that beautiful? God actively orchestrates. You know how orchestra, just all those different instruments come together and blends together into one sound? Actively orchestrate every, not just one, not just your past, not just your future, not just your present, but every circumstance in your lives for the ultimate good. How beautiful is that? That a God you serve, that we serve, a daddy we call God would do such a thing for us. Y'all, that is just so beautiful. So remember, with the scriptures, make sure you read and meditate on that scripture. You can read that whole chapter. You can read it and just study it however you want to do. That is for your study this week. All right. Now for our wellness activity. This one is journaling. And this is something I want you to think about and really journal on. Okay. So it's 2 questions. The first question is, what lesson did my hardest year teach me? Think about that hardest year. I told you mine was back in my 20s, my divorce, being a single mother, filing bankruptcy. All that happened during around the same time. Okay. What lessons did you learn in your hardest year? Okay. And so the second question is, what version of me is no longer welcomed in my next season? I got a couple of mine that stands out as well. So those are your 3 crowns for the week, Queen. And remember, Queen, this episode was all about understanding that you are not starting over, you are starting wiser. Y'all be blessed. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you in the next episode. And remember, adjust your crown daily by doing something for you. Peace.